Good evening and welcome to the 716 Playbook, where every play counts. I am your host, Kyle, and I am very, very excited for today's show. Thank you all for tuning in. I am very sorry. We have not met in 3 weeks now. Unfortunately, 3 weeks ago, or I guess 2 weeks ago. No, 3 weeks ago. I was having some massive technical difficulties, and I could not get the stream on, so I ended up just calling it off for the night, not knowing that the following week I would have the exact same technical difficulties. I struggled all week to try to figure out what was going on. Luckily, I did figure out what was going on, but by the time I already figured out what was going on, it was too late to do another live show, and the following week, which was last week, I was on vacation. So instead of coming back and then missing another week, I just chose to take a 3-week period off. I am very glad that you're here with me tonight as we try to navigate Buffalo sports and the craziness that is going on right now in Buffalo. As you may know, this show covers the Bandits, the Sabres, and the Bills, and we will introduce each team again to you tonight. I appreciate you all for tuning in. If this is your first time on tonight, if this is your first time watching, even if this is a recording afterwards, after the live is done, I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure that you follow us. You can see all of the accounts down below. Make sure that you you can also go down below if you're watching on YouTube. My link is in the description. The link is in bio for everything else on every other platform, so you will find us. Hit that link in the bio. It will pull you to our link tree, and then from there you can find us on all of your favorite platforms. Make sure that you follow us, you like our stuff, you repost, you share the accounts, and as always, make sure that the bell notifications are turned on so you know when we're live and when we're streaming, when there's a recording, when there's a video up, and when we're posting. I am constantly on X. That is the main channel. But I'm also posting on, clips on TikTok, posting clips on Instagram, posting things in the story, making sure to be live on YouTube, X, Twitch, TikTok. Unfortunately, right now, if you don't know already, X and TikTok are down. Not the platform, but I can't connect. I can't stream right now to either of those platforms. I'm not sure what's going on. So if you're watching this, you're probably watching on YouTube or Twitch. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you finding your way to the show. As always, you can comment. This show is just as important if you engage into it. It's also only as good as you make it. So please comment, even if you want to rebuttal something I said, if you want to ask a question, if you're interested, whatever that may be. Please make sure to quickly just comment and say something. It will go a long way, and I will make sure to talk about it. As always, be respectful, kind of all the views shared. And if you're interested in coming on the show and talking, even if you're a rival sports fan, make sure that you DM me on any of those platforms, and I will make sure to reach out to you and make that happen. I would love for, especially an AFC East viewer, to come on the show and debate the Bills or what's going to happen this season, or just kind of, even if you're just like an Eagles fan or whatever, it'd be really great to have you on the show and to talk to you and pick your brain. I have some things in the works for some future shows that I will be excited to share once things are more nailed in stone. But just be on the lookout for that, because there are some exciting little things, some connections, and so that's really exciting. Some great opportunities for where the show is going to be. Also, we are uploading on Spotify. Look, if you've watched the show, especially at the beginning of April and even the last week in March and the week even prior, I kept saying I was going to add Spotify's little icon down below. I never did. Still haven't. I apologize. That's on me. I will try to have that up for next week. I probably won't, going to be honest, because I keep forgetting. But if I try to make myself a little reminder, maybe I will have it on for next week's episode. Make sure to add Spotify icon. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. All right. I keep forgetting to add that icon down below for the show. But it is in the link tree, so it's going to be on all. You'll find it on all of the links in the bio. So make sure that you follow us on there and that you watch the show. All right. With all that being said, I think we covered most of what I needed to cover for the intro. We have so much to talk about, especially with the Bills, especially with the Bandits. Luckily the Sabres is not as much to talk about. But I'm covering a month. This episode will 100% go over the hour mark. I do not want it to go past an hour and a half to 2 hours. That's too much. It's too much. But there's so much to talk about. So many things are going on. We're talking about the Bandits' first game in the playoffs, talking about wrapping up the Sabres season, and, of course, the Bills' continuous offseason, what that brings. And if you didn't know, there was this little thing called the NFL Draft. It just happened over the weekend. I spent 3 straight days just watching draft coverage. I'm going to be honest, if your team's not being talked about, which it pretty much wasn't, about 90% of the entire draft coverage was just based around Shedeur Sanders. If you don't know that name, you're lucky. Because it was the most exhausting coverage, and if I had to hear one more time, why isn't this kid getting picked, I was going to lose it. But we'll get into all of that for sure. Anyway, let's move right on in to the Bandits segment. Yeah. So look, the Bandits are now in the playoffs. All right, we missed a couple weeks, obviously, but we are in the playoffs. Good. The Bandits are so far into the playoffs, they already played. They played last Friday. They won. The first round is a single game elimination. Kind of weans out the losers. It makes it way more fun and competitive when it's like a base out of 7-game series. Sometimes losers and upsets can creep in. Not in this case. The top seed in all 4 games won across the entire NLL, which means that we are now, all 4 games that played, the better team won. We will luckily be playing the fourth seed in this upcoming game or upcoming series. Now, the second round, we just won the quarterfinals, which means now we're on the semifinals. In these semifinals, okay, it's a best 2 out of 3. Okay, so you got to win 2 of 3 games. The Bandits can very easily beat the Warriors. We are playing the Warriors. I don't think that's going to be hard for us at all. On the other side of the bracket, the Rush have to play the Thunderbirds, and they're a little bit closer. They're closer in because they're the 2 seed and the 3 seed. The Bandits are the 1st seed, and the the Warriors are the 4th seed. So the Bandits beating the Warriors is way more likely, but there might be an upset. Maybe the Thunderbird can steal the show away from the Rush. I don't know. Crazier things can happen, but the Bandits are currently en route to a 3-peat championship. If they win the finals this season, they will have back-to-back-to-back championships, and that would be very impressive. The only team else to do it in LL history is no other than the Rochester Nighthawks, and the Rochester Nighthawks, who are owned by the same owner as the Buffalo Bandits, Terry Pagula, who also, or Pagula, whoever you want to announce his name. He also owns the Bills, the Sabres. He owns all the Buffalo sports, all of the Western New York sports, honestly. He also owns the Rochester Americans or the Rochester, whoever the minor league hockey team in Rochester is. He owns that team as well. So he owns pretty much all sports in Western New York. Anyway, he bought the team, the Rochester Nighthawks, in 2011. And then they went on in 2012, 2013, 2014 to win back-to-back-to-back championships. So in the same league, within the same century. So that's pretty impressive, I will say. Not exactly the same, kind of the same interlapping decades, but not really. 2012, 2013, 2014. Then you're going to have 2023, 2024, 2025. So that's impressive. That's amazing. So at least Terry Pagula is doing something right on the lacrosse side of things, because when it comes to the Sabres, buddy he's treading water, and we'll talk about that. Anyway, let's talk about Friday night's game with the Bandits. This game was all Matt Vince. I mean, the whole game from start to finish was Matt Vince. Matt Vince had 48 saves, and he held the Seals, the San Diego Seals, the team to beat us at home. he held them to a 5-4 win. So we won 5, held them to a 4-goal game. Impressive. Just absolutely impressive on all accounts of the game. He was amazing. Vince has previously held opponents to 4 goals in the deciding game 3 of the 2023 NLL Finals to win the championship the first year they won. And then in game 1 of last year's NLL semifinals against Toronto. So this is the third time that he's held the opponent in the postseason or in the regular season to 4 goals. The 4 goals against tied the few, again, this is tied for the fewest allowed points by the Bandits in a single game in franchise history. Just all around heavily defensive game, and we came out with the win 5-4. For a single elimination game in Bandit Land in Buffalo, there was no losing. That wasn't an option. And the Bandits understood that. With the win, the Bandits now advance to the semifinals. Because, again, it's a single game elimination round. Now we're in a series round, which means we have to win 2 of 3. If anything, I think that's a lot easier. Because you have one bad night, a couple injured guys, it's over. But you can pull away with a win. Or at least 2 of 3 wins and still lose one. And it'd be okay. So that is super, super exciting. Again, I'm not going to go into specifics about the game. I'm not going to go into play-by-play like I normally do. Let me just tell you the last couple minutes was phenomenal for Matt Vince. He rose to the occasion. He got on his knees or whatever position he needed to be in to make the save. Finishing with 11 saves in the fourth quarter alone to send Buffalo to the semifinals. He was the driving pin in the coffin for the Seals through and through. And I just want to say I'm very glad that he is on our side because I do not want to go up against that. Again, the first game, game 1, Bandits versus Warriors, will be this Friday, May 2nd at 7:30 in Buffalo. Okay? Then the second game will be where the Warriors play. And the third game will be back in Buffalo. All right? And the same thing goes for the Rush. The Rush play on Saturday. They play against the Thunderbirds. Game 1 will be in Saskatchewan. Game 2 will be where the Thunderbirds play. And then Game 3, the Rush will have home court advantage again. So, with all that being said, Game 1 for the Bandits will be this Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It will be on TSN, ESPN+, TSN+, and NLL+, all those 4 channels. So make sure that you tune in, you watch it. It's going to be a great game. Very excited. I think Bandits will take this 2-0 easy and move on to the playoffs. For the Rush, I think it'll be different. I honestly am assuming there will be there has to be at least one upset in an NLL playoff, and I think it's going to be against the Rush and the Thunderbirds. I think Thunderbirds take the Rush. I think the Rush are like overly inflated as a team. They're sometimes when people look at the Rush compared to the Bandits, people even put the Rush above the Bandits with scoring and such. I think Bandits are obviously better, but we are first seed. But I think the Thunderbirds I think they have a good chance. If there's going to be an upset, it's going to be them. But anyway, yes, this is the only caveat that I will say that I have to be truthful about. The Buffalo Bandits did lose Friday, March 29th, 2025. They lost against the Warriors. So we have recently lost in the regular season to this team. So we need to take that game, learn from it, because we are going to play them in the playoffs when it counts. They can beat us in the regular season. We stayed at number 1 seed. Now let's beat them where it counts. All right. All right. We are going to transition now. Like I said, we're going to move through these pretty quickly. We're going to transition into the Buffalo Sabres. This whole team is just a dumpster fire. And I say that with the most love in my heart. The Sabres finished in the month of April with 5 straight wins, and then we lost 4 straight, and then we won the last game of the series in Buffalo against the Flyers. We got to take a lot from this season. We finished 36, 39, and 7. It just... It bothers me. It bothers me for multiple reasons that this is where our team is right now. Okay? But kind of broad skate real quick. The Buffalo Sabres are now on a 14-year playoff drought. Last time we were in the playoffs was 14 years ago. We currently have the biggest playoff drought in NHL history, and we are tied for the biggest playoff drought in any sport with the New York Jets. That's ironic. It's an AFC East competitor with the Buffalo Bills, and it's just ironic that we happen to be tied with them. Our NHL team, the New York Jets, are tied for the longest playoff drought in sports history. I mean, we're talking about sports history where you get the Bears, the Lions. I mean, these... Anyway, not going to get into it. It's just depressing to think about that. Longest active postseason drought among America's 4 biggest professional sports leagues. All right, whatever. That's just the reality of it, unfortunately. And this is really where it matters for the Buffalo Sabres moving forward. There's a lot of changes that the Buffalo Sabres need to make. They need to make them fast because the off-season stuff starts pretty quickly. And the offseason is surrounded by the general manager because the manager has to make all those moves. Well, as of April 29th, today, Kevin Adams, our GM, he is the general manager, but his future with the team is uncertain. This is coming from the New York Times. There have been reports that Adams has not been officially guaranteed his job for next season, and he has not been assured that he will remain as GM. He could potentially be given a different role within the organization. If it was my opinion, if I was Terry Pegula, and I was looking at this from a broad scape, I would be thinking, he's part of the problem. I don't want him anywhere near my organization. Let's just get him gone. I don't see that happening. I see, if anything, Kevin Adams is going to step down. They're going to say it's like mutual. He's going to step into some other role position. He's going to collect money from the organization. He's probably not going to do as much. He's going to sit around. He's not going to be in the public eye. But on paper, he will still be part of the team, and he'll still get a paycheck. That's exactly what's going to happen. If Terry Pegula was smart, he would know to just cut him. Just for once, upper management, okay, above the GM, needs to say, somebody on the board, some executive just needs to look over at Terry and say, cut him. Period. Point blank, cut him. He's part of the problem. You can't have a GM who sets the tone within the entire organization go in front of the media and tell the media that players don't want to come to us because it's cold and we don't have palm trees and our taxes are bad. Pay the players more. Plant a palm tree in the middle of the ice rink in playoffs. I don't care what you got to do. Make it happen. Okay? Figure it out. Talk about potentially, I don't know, having some practices in a warmer climate. I don't care what you got to do to make a deal happen. Make it happen. Okay? You're the GM. That's your job. You took on the role, knowing the climate, knowing the location, knowing the taxes, knowing exactly how people feel about Western New York, and your job is to sell the team. Sell it. Sell it to other players. Sell it to other teams. Make trades happen. On March 1st, okay, Kevin Adams reported that there were no offers close. I want to know what the offers were, okay? This is mid-season, I guess end of season, before the trade deadline is over, and he's claiming that there's no offers. It's now off-season, and there's really nothing happening. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know what you're calling. With just on a broad scape, I want you to tell me 5 things that you have done last week, GM Kevin Adams. If I had his email, that's the first thing I'd email him. I'd say, point blank, what have you done? He has done nothing. he is so much part of the problem. That's why I just don't even like talking about this segment. This is my least favorite segment because I love the Sabres. I love Buffalo. I have so much pride for the sport. I have so much pride for my city. And then you have Kevin Adams come into the middle of this. And then you have an owner who won't own up to the problem in his own management, within his own organization. Like, Terry knows how a successful organization is ran. The Rochester Nighthawks, the Buffalo Bandits, and the Buffalo Bills have somehow made it happen. Terry, you're either the luckiest man in the world or you're just neglecting the Buffalo Sabres. Either way, there's a lot of fans out there that are only hockey fans. They don't care about football. They don't care about the Bandits. They don't care about the Nighthawks. They don't care about anything. They just care about the Sabres. They don't have any other team to run to. Luckily, when the Sabres got me down, I think, hey, I got the Bills. We might lose to Kansas City, but at least we make the playoffs. I got the Bandits. We're about to make a 3-peat run. Gosh. We got no NBA team. Good, because Terry would probably own it. But if we did, I hope that my Cleveland Cavaliers would come to Buffalo. Because they're doing great things in the playoffs. Anyway, that was NBA. That's NBA talk. Anyway, not important. What is important is the Sabres making changes and making them fast. Figuring things out. And I've composed a couple things. I've made a little list, did some research on things that I feel the Buffalo Sabres need to do. Defensive depth for the Buffalo Sabres. It's lacking. And I'll say this. We had so many unanswered goals. So many unanswered goals with our opponents. So many times the opponent would score on us and we could not answer back. That shows us more of a weakness, in my opinion, on the defense. Because even when our offense is firing on every cylinder, our defense can't keep up. When it comes to Bowen Byram, he was injured this season, but he has so much potential. I believe that he should be given an extension. Sign him long term. The Sabres defense is already super thin. Byron and Dahlin are an amazing pair. Keep them together. And lastly, you have this massive pool right now of tradable players in the NHL. Do something. Make something happen. Surprise us all. Okay? I can't sit around for hours on end every day and talk about the Sabres or think about what trades need to be done or what can happen. In my opinion, what I can do is look to my GM who gets paid, who should be spending at least 40 hours a week dissecting this team and figuring out a way to make it happen that we can at least make the playoffs. I'm not even talking about winning a championship. I'm talking about winning a playoff game. I'm talking about making the playoffs. Make it happen. But I don't know if that's going to be possible. I really don't. At this point, I don't know what has to happen, but I am just broadly speaking of right now, looking back at this season, there's glaring holes. And I know that the GM he at least has enough of a brain to see those holes, but does he have enough of a brain to fill the hole? I don't know. I don't know. So, anyway, that kind of concludes the Buffalo Sabres segment. I don't really want to get any more into that because we're going to go on to some happier thoughts. We're going to go on to the Buffalo Bills. Okay? Now, like I always do, I am going to have a food for thought segment to transition us into the big segment of the night, because I'm going to talk nonstop for a while after this point, and I don't want you guys to get exhausted of hearing me. So just some interesting facts. The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. Question, do we think that the quarterback for the Bears, Caleb Williams, can have a 4,000-yard year? When it comes to Caleb Williams, this last season, he had 3,500 yards. He could do it this year. He could break that. He could break it. We'll see what happens. 4,000 yards though. I mean, that's hard to do as a quarterback, but it's not. It should never be that an organization can never get that done. I mean, I'm thinking even like Brock Purdy. You know, I mean, like what was his? Brock Purdy had 3,800 yards. I mean, Trevor Lawrence only had 2,000 yards. All right, but he had 4,000 yards in 2023. Boy, that is rough. 2,000 yards. So Caleb Williams can get it done. All right. So the Bears might be a fact that needs to get thrown out. All right. Like I said before, make sure as we're transitioning into the NFL segment of the night, the Bills segment, make sure that you comment. I will make sure to bring your comments up. I have the GWA Wiffle Ball account. I don't watch Wiffle Ball. Maybe that's a pro sport that should come to Buffalo. Because actually I know that it's on ESPN. I've seen it before. But the GWA Wiffle Ball has said a couple of things. I think that Michael Penix has had more potential than any other quarterback. I'm gonna finish that with one statement. I don't even know that much about Michael Penix. That tells me enough that he will not be the most potential. He does not have the most potential out of any quarterback. Period. Ecto facto. Atlanta Falcons are known for one thing, and that is their defense. I doubt for a second that the Atlanta Falcons have landed themselves a quarterback who claims he's going to get at least 5 rings for the city of Atlanta. Give me a break. That's the only thing I know about that kid. I don't know much about that kid, but I don't think that he is the most potential. If the Chiefs don't follow the script, then maybe the Bills will go all the way. That's cute. If there's a script, then the Chiefs would have had a three-peat. Best sports podcaster ever. Thank you. I don't know if that's sarcastic, but I appreciate it. Maybe we should have Stephen A. Smith on and we can compare the two, or Shannon Sharp. Oh, that's a touchy subject. Wow, I thought it was baseball season right now, but there's so much football stuff still. Wow. Yes, it is baseball season. The Buffalo City does not have a pro baseball team, and there's so much to talk about in off-season football stuff. I'm not going to get around to baseball stuff. So appreciate your comments, though. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. All right. Anyway, with that being said, a lot of things have happened with the Buffalo Bills. So much surrounding them. I'm just sitting in it. I don't know. It's crazy. Since the start of April, a lot has happened, and so much unnecessary turmoil around fans has happened. So we're gonna dissect this a little bit at a time, because in the last week, I have seen the most flip-flopping out of any or sports fan base ever. Bills Mafia has just kind of crumbled, especially on Twitter. It's just crumbling bigger and bigger. I don't know what's going on, but I do. We are going to talk about it because I think that needs to be addressed quickly, and I will address that. When it comes to deals and off-season news, Trey White, cornerback for the Buffalo Bills, former cornerback who went to the Rams and the Ravens in the last year, he is finally back. We cut him last year, and we still owe him money in the dead cap, but now he's back, so that's cool. So he'll be getting 2 paychecks, one for his new contract and one for his old contract for when we released him. He's a veteran. He will not probably be a starting cornerback, but I do like having a veteran who knows the playbook, adds depth to our cornerback room. And on top of all of that, he knows the organization, and he can mentor the younger guys. And some of the kids that got drafted in, he will be a great leader for them. He'll probably even be captain for the defense. I mean, he is just that influential guy. He embodies the city of Buffalo. He made one thing very clear to his agent. He wanted to come back to Buffalo, make the deal happen, and the agent made it happen. So very, very happy to see that. I enjoy his presence on the team. A lot of people think that it's just kind of stupid, but it's like a $6 million deal. Not that much is guaranteed. A lot of it's based on incentives. You know how I feel about incentives. I think incentives are important. I think incentives drive especially older guys to do better because we're only going to pay you as well as you do. And I like that. So with that being said, we're going to talk about the draft. We're also going to talk about some locker room stuff that happened. Also, Bills tight end Dawson Knox won the Call to Courage Award. The award honors an NFL player who showed character, commitment, and leadership on and off the field. The Buffalo Bills tight end Dawson Knox was honored for his accomplishments and his faith. He said, and I quote, "I was so humbled and excited. An annual tradition in Buffalo to honors an NFL player, and he 100% deserves that award." Dawson Knox is a great guy. We up into the draft, we had a lot of guys come on. Some rookies and not rookies. We had some future rookies. We had a lot of draft prospects, guys that declared for the draft, college kids. They came out to the Bills facility practice and visited with the Bills one-on-one. A lot of guys. So that's really cool to see. We had a lot of them come out. And majority of the ones that we visited with, we actually end up not going with. So I think that's pretty interesting. It is super hot in my room right now. It is just blazing hot, but we are going to keep on pushing through this. There is just so much. I collect news. So sometimes so that when I go onto the show and I have things to pull up, it's just easy. But because I pull up so much stuff in the last month, there's so much that I have to scroll through in order to get somewhere. But that is what it is. We just met with so many majority defenders in one-on-one interviews. It kind of gave us a glimpse of exactly what the Bills were going to do in this draft. And it did. Also, Osiris Torrance, he's one of our O-linemen. He has only given up 3 sacks in his first 2 seasons with the Bills. And he said in a press conference, in a quote, he said, "They have the confidence in me to guard the best in the game," talking about blocking for Josh Allen. And he has done just that. That kid is great, and he pairs so well with Deion Dawkins. They're great. The two of them together are great. And then Spencer Brown, obviously, on the other side, is amazing. They've been doing great things and making sure to not only block for Josh Allen and the Bills' running back room, but also being able to lead on the offense. Deion Dawkins is a straight-up leader. He's a baller. I love Deion Dawkins. And the whole O-line. The O-line did amazing. The Buffalo Bills did meet with veteran cornerback James Bradbury. This was before the draft. I didn't think anything of this, honestly. I thought it was interesting. The Dolphins are also trying to trade Jalen Ramsey. He's a cornerback from the Dolphins. I thought that would be an interesting pairing as well. Jalen Ramsey's good, but I don't necessarily need so many veterans in my cornerback room. I need guys that are ready to be developed, that can play. That are young, that are the prime is ahead of them, not behind them. So I'd much rather sign rookies that we can develop over time, that can learn from somebody like Trey White and Christian Benford. I don't need a cornerback who is about to set the stage for the existing guys in the defense. So, Trey White represents the transition. He does not represent the winning culture, in my opinion. You might disagree with that. I don't. Obviously, I genuinely do not think that Trey White is a starting cornerback. He's not the guy to get it done, especially not anymore. He might have been able to do it on a different defense with a different team with different guys. Maybe. I don't know. With different teams and different offenses that he's going up against. I don't know. All that is hearsay. But the essence of Trey White now, what he used to be on very different defensive teams, Trey White represented the transition with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer with Terrell Edmonds. This defense that we have now is a everybody eats mentality on both sides of the ball. We do what we need to do. Get the ball to the offense again. We're in it to win it, not in it to break a drought, not in it to get us out of a funk, not in it to get us out of where we used to be. We're here, we're now. We've been to this 100 times. Let's get it done. Let's get over the hump. Trey White embodies that transition way more than he transitions where we're in now. We're in the final stages to win the Super Bowl, in my opinion. Trey White was there during the nitty-gritty when the organization was changing. I love to have him on. I don't think it's a bad addition. I just don't think that he is the guy to get it done. So I didn't feel either way about it. We did release defensive tackle Branson Dean. And then we also released Armani Rogers. He was waived for a non-football injury. He's a tight end as well. So we had a couple guys that are gone. Trey White being back is very special. Josh Allen, we had I guess you want to call that voluntary training and practice. So it's just like an open practice and training for guys that want to come in on the offseason, but it's voluntary. Most guys showed up. Most leaders showed up on the team. Most decent players showed up. James Cook didn't. That speaks volume. Yes, it's voluntary, but James Cook did not show up amidst a very ugly public contract holdout with the Buffalo Bills. In my opinion, I think he's going to hold out. I really think that he thinks in his mind he deserves $15 to $20 million a year as a running back. I professionally don't think that's the case. I don't think he's there. I think he had a great season and a half. He's young. Yeah, he's probably transitioning into his prime years, but we all know that running back shelf life is low, and he's trying to make sure that he can secure his money. He has every right to do that, but the Bills have every right not to go along with that. And if a team that can afford that wants to pay that much for running back, they probably aren't taking their Super Bowl chances very seriously, because any team that's paying $20 million for a running back has to make cuts in other places. Buffalo Bills don't have that money to make that cut. We don't have the money, that budget, to work around that. You can make the argument that we can clear up money here and there, and we can just I think refinancing contracts, because it's so easy and so public and all these teams are doing it, it's just like, oh, let's just do it. It's not that easy. So, in my opinion, I don't think that James Cook should be getting north of $10 million. But that is okay. Christian Benford said on the return of Tre'Davious White, he said, I think they are getting us all back together to win a championship. I hope that's the case, and I hope that we can get it done this year. Not only that, but I hope that we can get it done for Trey White's sake. I know that he's probably looking at retirement soon, and getting that ring would be one step closer to being able to do that. In the voluntary workouts and tryouts, and I keep saying tryouts, but workouts and practice in those voluntary days, Josh Allen is, he talked in front of the media, and he shared that, Tre'Davious White joined the Bills a couple days before the first day of voluntary workout. And so, Josh Allen said that he's been off his phone. He isn't on social media at all, and so he showed up. Nobody told him that Tre'Davious White's back, and he looked over and said, is that Tre'Davious White? Like, is that Trey? Is he back? So that's a pretty cool story. Josh Allen just seems like he's, ready to work. When Josh Allen was asked about James Cook, he said, guys understand the business side. I'm not the GM or coach. Wear many hats, but that's not one of them. Adds that he knows Cook is working on where he's at. Josh said that he has been in contact with James Cook. He loves the guy. The same rigmarole we hear with every single guy in the organization. I love the guy. He's great. We're very grateful for him on the team. He's still putting in that work. He's doing what he needs to do in the offseason, but let the business side handle itself. That's what every guy said. That's what I'm going to have as well. It's the same opinion I have. I don't think he deserves that, but let the business side work itself out, and whatever happens, happens. Josh Allen says that he's been using the Kansas City game to fuel him. Josh Allen says that everybody eats isn't a one-year thing. It is now the way that the offense is going to operate moving forward. This is now a organizational switch, and anybody coming onto the team is going to have to make that change. Anybody that signs that paper and agrees to the contract for the Buffalo Bills has to get on board with the everybody eats mentality, or they're not going to fit in. Josh Allen is wearing a hat that says everybody eats established 2024, which means that it's not just like the 1 year. It was created this year. We're going to keep it going. I love that energy. Josh Allen, his fiance, just came out with a movie. It's called Sinners. It's with Michael B. Jordan. Go watch it if you're interested. It's like a horror movie, but it's like a deeper. There's like coming off like slavery, and I haven't watched it yet. I've seen the trailer a couple times. I've watched a lot of things about it. It is rated R. There's a lot of adult content. Apparently, there's things on social media about Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld. I'm assuming it's all incorrect. It's just very overhyped movie drama. Not going to get into that, but Josh Allen said he's focused on the game. He's very proud of his fiance, and he loves her very much. And she is a huge part of his life, and she is helping him be a better player, is what he said. So she is giving him that motivation. So I think that's great. And he's just blocking out the media, blocking out the noise, especially with how toxic the media can be. I think that's a very good idea. Brandon Bean said James Cook is not here for voluntary workouts right now, but it's not fair to assume it's because of his contract. I will stand with that. I think it is very unfair to say he's not there because of the contract. We'll see as it rolls out. If he starts holding out, obviously it's because of his contract, but we'll see. I'm not going to assume anything. It's voluntary right now, but it should speak a little volume that he did not show up, and he was there last year. But we'll see what ends up happening. It is what it is. So moving on to draft day. Moving on to, in my opinion, was a great draft day. Heading up to the draft, apparently Buffalo called the Steelers about potentially moving up from number 30th pick in the first round to number 21st. That didn't happen. There's a lot of drama that happened with the NFL draft this past weekend. I'm not going to get into it all. There's so much that happened. If you want to know more, please read it up on your own time. There's just so much. There's so many players that get picked, and there's so much potential, and there's so many hypotheticals, and then they could break a leg tomorrow. Like, you have no idea. But there's a lot of speculation. The biggest thing that happened in the first round was that the Jacksonville Jaguars did trade up, and they got Travis Hunter for the second pick overall, the first round of the NFL draft. Travis Hunter will be playing both sides of the ball. That was iffy, like what was going to happen. And what was supposed to be like a top 1, top 2 quarterback, Shedeur Sanders for Colorado, ended up being picked the 5th round. So much controversy over that. So much noise over that. I'm not even going to get into it. But let me just say, it was exhausting. Super, super exhausting. Deion Sanders' son not getting picked first. This, that. He should have been first pick overall. The Tennessee Titans picked Cam Ward, the quarterback from Miami. They never picked Shedeur. Why did that happen? This was already a defensive-heavy class. And there was just so much noise going around what should happen. It was unnecessary. In my opinion, I don't know enough about Shedeur Sanders' game. I know that Colorado wasn't that good. I know that they're not even in that good of a league. They're I don't know. In my opinion, who cares? Shedeur, this is what I'm going to say. You get picked first or you get picked 5th round. I don't care. If you're that good, you got drafted onto a team, prove them all wrong. Tom Brady was drafted like 100 and something. He was drafted so far into the draft. If you're that good, if you're what everybody's claiming you to be, if there's people claiming that this is a racial intent or that this is somehow racist or whatever, just block out all the noise, kid. Go play football. That's my opinion on the whole matter, and that's where I'm going to stand. The people that are diving so deep into this, and it was a conspiracy, and all the owners got together just to make a statement that this kid isn't what he says he is, and he's got an attitude problem. Yeah, he's probably got all of it. So does half the draft. Half these kids coming in here are getting paid by college football to go and do this. They're getting paid millions and then come into a draft where they're going to get paid hundreds of thousands. They got cocky attitudes. Every kid thinks that he's the best player. I listened to the first round. Every single kid apparently thinks that he's going to change the organization that drafted him. Every single player, miraculously, thinks that they're the guy that's going to bring justice to the team. Well, that can't be true. There's 32 teams. There's going to be one winner. The justice in that is that they know the justice. I just think that this is silly. I think that's more video later on all the platforms, and it is what it is. But look, video later on all the platforms, and it is what it is. But look, Mafia and Buffalo Bills fans have been complaining forever. Mafia and Buffalo Bills fans have been complaining forever. Mafia and Buffalo Bills fans have been complaining forever. And yet there's still a problem. We made a lot of trades and did a lot of things that added Josh Palmer. We did things that we needed to do in order. And yet there's still a problem. We made a lot of trades and did a lot of things that added Josh Palmer. We did things that we needed to do in order to. But he's just upset, and he showed his frustration, and he cursed out, and he got upset, and I don't. But he's just upset, and he showed his frustration, and he cursed out, and he got upset, and I don't. Let the cards fall the way they fall.